Hi there, you distance learners, or even learners that are in class. I'm a friend of your teacher's, Mr. Facemeyer, and he and I like to draw, and we like to make things. And I thought I would do the same assignments that you're doing. So I'm going to do the one where Mr. Facemeyer asked us to do a cutout cardboard and paper to make an ocean view. So I'm going to do that, but I don't have colored paper at my house, but I live in an apartment building, and a lot of people put their cardboard boxes that they don't want anymore into the garbage, into the recycling. And I look and I find the boxes I want, and I use these for red and for black and for gray and for white. And sometimes I will just cut out that O, and that becomes an eyeball. Isn't that fun? Or maybe that O will be an eyeball, a red eyeball, or a white eyeball on a black background. Or could, so there's all sorts of fun stuff. So I've been making fish, and I'm just going to show you how I do that. And we've learned in my art career that there's lots of different ways to do things. When you're in your math class and you have a problem to solve, like 4 plus 4 equals what? What does that equal, you guys? That equals 8. And that's the only answer. You can't do 4 plus 4 and have it be anything other than 8. It has to be 8. But with art, I can do a project, and you can do a project, and Mr. Facemeyer can do a project, and we all have the same rules, but we all come up with completely different answers. And that's what's really, really fun, because there's no one answer. There's lots of little answers. So what am I doing here? I'm cutting with my scissors, and this used to be part of an E, remember? It was that. Now it's only this. So this I can add with another one, another same thing. Let's cut that out. And this could be, I could glue that to there, and then I'd have a really long blue and white striped snake or a fish. Isn't that cool? So what I've done, and what's really fun about using a box like this is it's mainly blue, but it has white letters on it. But the letters can also be patterns, like that O could be an I. And this, just by itself, see what happens? If I just cut this off, like that, and just look at this one little part, that could be an eyeball, and that could be a mouth on a fish. So what I've done, where's my fish that I started? I started making bodies of fish. I haven't put the fins on them yet, but here's one body. So it's a big mouth and an eye and some eyelashes. That's actually an O and an E, but now it's an I. Isn't that funny? An O turns into an I, but I'm not talking about the letter I, I'm talking about the eyeball I. So the O and the E become an I with big fluffy eyelashes. Now that eye is triangular because I made it out of an A, part of an A. Isn't that cool? Still has the same lipstick, and the lipstick came from, or the mouth came from a corner of the box. Where is it? I guess I've used them all up, but it was this. It was a red box in a blue background. So I just cut off a little bit of it and made lots of mouths. So here's another mouth. another fish, and that has a D that turned into an I. And there's another eye and a bigger mouth. So I've got all of these fish, and it looks like they're all chatting. They're all talking to each other. And here's another one, a mouth this time, a triangular mouth, and he's swimming down from the top like that. So when I'm going to add the fins, and I've already cut the fins out, so they're going to be glued onto the back like this, and maybe some tail fins like that. And then soon they're all going to be swimming around. And then maybe I'll have a snake in there too, swimming. So this is what I did with this box, but I want to show you what I did with another box, because I finished those, almost all. It was just a regular box, and it was green and white. And also on the back side, it was brown and black and white. So I had two sides of the cardboard to work with. So this is a funny looking fish. Here's a fish. Here, this you can recognize this kind of a fish. This one has a little light bulb on the top. You know, those fish that are way down deep. And they swim up and then they turn their little light bulb on to attract the other fish. And the other fish come in and they gobble them up. Like that. So here we have this fish has a little eyeball that's made out of a bee. Two eyes that time. And sometimes I use the brown and the green at the same time on one side. So big square mouth, little triangular eye. And what's really fun, you know, when I'm making these fish, I don't really think too much. I just have fun and I play. But when I take them out, when I take any two out, I've made maybe 60 fish out of this box. Some are tiny, like this one. Some are pretty big. Look at this one. Funny looking face on that one. But what's fun is you can take two fish, any two fish out, like this one and this one. And what are they saying to each other? This one looks angry. And this one looks like he's a little embarrassed. Why did you eat those cookies from the cookie jar? I told you not to. Oh, I was kind of hungry. Brr. You know, he's kind of scared. He's angry. What about these two? Angry, and this one's saying, oh, for God's sake. You know, I've heard this all before. Deal with it. See, they're all different. They have different personalities, these fish. And what about this one? This almost looks like a man with his whiskers. They call them a 5 o'clock shadow. You see? So he's yelling really loud. His mouth is really wide open. And this one over here is just giggling. So the little stories you can come up with these fish. What are they saying to each other? See, this is what's really, really fun. And when I was down to the end of my little scraps, I was coming up with really funny looking fish because I didn't have my regular straight lines anymore. I used them all up, so I had all these squiggly lines that were part of the printing on the box. This was a box, I think, that had plants in it or something, and so these are supposed to look like leaves. I don't know what they were. But these two are having a conversation. They're kind of falling in love, I think. I don't know. What do you think? Are they falling in love? This little tiny one, what's he saying to this one? Aren't they fun? And look what I have. Where did I put it? These are all the little green bits that I have left. They're little tiny crumbs, but I bet I can still make a fish out of these. maybe another 3 or 4 fish. And they're going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and tinier. But some fish are tiny. Little baby fish. So I still have work to do. Oh no, I mixed up my blue fish and my green fish. Like, look at these 2 heads. This one has a tongue sticking out. See, there's a happy fish and a sad fish, and this one's kind of frightened. So this is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying working with you, and you, and you, and you, and with Mr. Facemeyer. We're having a really good time, and I'm so happy that he's teaching us online so I can watch, because I don't live where you guys are, so I can't go to class. And I'm older than your people's grandparents. I'm an old man, but I want to be a kid again, especially with Mr. Facemeyer as my teacher. Show me your fish.